Hi, today I want to show you how you can set up AppLinks inside of Nordcraft for your mobile application. Now, if you have a web application that is hosted in Nordcraft and you have a mobile application and you want those to be synchronized, you can use something that Apple calls AppLinks. AppLinks allow your application, as you can see here on my screen, if you go on a link that goes to your web application, right? It will actually open that specific page in your native mobile application. So it will synchronize those both together. Now, setting this up is actually super simple. It will also give your users the ability to go to Safari and have this nice banner saying, hey, open this page inside of the application. As you can see, it opens the specific application. There are many platforms that do this, web applications connecting it with mobile applications. It really does a seamless experience because if they click on any link for that application, it opens the appropriate page, as you can see right inside of here. And now with the update that Nordcraft has added, because I asked them to support this for Despia with proxy routes, we now have this feature available for all Despia users or generally users who have a mobile application and host their web application with Nordcraft. So let me tell you how you can set that up because it is super simple. So if you want some documentation to read into this topic, you can find more information about the object AppLinks inside of Apple Developer at developer.apple.com. Now, we need to set this up. There are a few settings we need to enable. Now, if we go to our Despia project, if you're using Despia, we want to go all the way down here on add-ons actually, and we want to turn on web app synchronization. So that needs to be enabled, and then you want to rebuild your application if you don't have it enabled yet. Perfect. So once we have that setting on, we now need to host a specific file. And I will link some documentation. You will find the documentation under AppLinks in the documentation. We'll also link it below this video. And you need to create a JSON file with some specific information from your application. And we also have an example that you can download. So let's just get the sample file here, which I already have actually set up with my information. What you would just need to do on your end is you would just go in here, replace this placeholder for the team ID with the team ID for your Apple developer account, which you can find here in developer.apple.com. It's right next to your name. And then you will need your bundle ID, which you can find if you're using Despia inside of the publishing panel here under App Bundle ID. Or you can also find this on the App Store Connect. Now, once we have this information put together, we already have a sample file here with those information inserted. So I'm just going to save this as AppLinks in downloads. There you go. So now I have the file and I have the JSON. I could now upload this to a CDN where I can serve the file, which is one option. What I'm going to do is I'm actually having that file served by Nordcraft so I can remotely edit it. Actually, by Xano, because Nordcraft doesn't have a file hosting attached to their proxy routes yet. So you would need to host it yourself. So if you use Nordcraft for hosting your web application and you want this JSON file on there, you have to either get it on Bunny CDN, which I do not recommend because of some of their caching policies, which could be not too beneficial, or you can store this as an API in Supabase. I'm just going to use Xano here because that's what I mainly use for my backend needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new endpoint and I'm going to call this Apple_app_links. That will be a GET request. And I'm just going to create a variable here called JSON. And I'm now going to put my AppLink structure inside of here. So I'm just going to go to our documentation here. I'm going to copy the code and I'm just going to paste the code with filters. And now I'm just going to edit this bundle ID and app ID with the team ID and bundle ID. I'm going to copy my team ID from the Apple developer account. I'm going to replace this value inside of here. I'm going to copy my bundle ID and I'm going to put my bundle ID right inside of here. Perfect. Now I'm going to apply that. That's all I need. Let's save that. and let's update the preferences. We need to make sure that we return this as JSON. And then sometimes it just helps if you just set the HTTP header to be application JSON, because Apple really needs it to be coming back as JSON. And sometimes what those tools do is they set it as plain text JSON, which is also technically JSON, but it's not something that Apple can parse. So let's take a look at the value here for setting the content header. And we're just going to make sure that the content is content type application JSON. Content type application JSON. We'll set that header, we'll publish, and now we can get this remote URL that if I open this, you will see I'm getting my AppLinks file with my application information. And now I want to proxy this because it needs to be hosted on the primary root directory. So in Nordcraft, to enable this, I will need to go on Pages plus, and I will create a new proxy. I will call this Apple Site Association, and I'm now going to set the source, meaning the path. The path will need to be a specific path that we will host this on. And it'll actually come from our documentation. It will need to be hosted on .wellknown/Apple Site Association. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste this here in the source, and I'm going to create this. Now we have a proxy. So I will now go to my Xano URL, or you could get this from your CDN or Supabase, whatever you're using, right? You just need a remote URL serving the content, so you can go back into it, edit it anytime without having to rechange the proxied routes because of some caching policies that Apple implements. And then we're just going to put this URL inside of here to cache this. And now what it does, it always disables it, so you need to enable it again. There you go. You will now see the information will be loaded into the Nordcraft application, as you can see right here. So if we now open this page, we should see our proxy data, but now it's served from our domain, from our root directory, and this is what Apple needs to make it work. Now with this being set up with the Apple Site Association, if we test this on our application, you will see we will have AppLinks working. If I go on /test, it will open /test directly in the application. If I go on the normal site, it will open that specific page in the application. If I close the application, click on the web application link for test, it will open directly the test site. As you can see, look how, oh, I just lost it for a moment. Look how great that works. And if I go to the core application, as you can see, if I go to /test in Safari, you will see that I will go to the test page, and now I will get this button, open an application, and it will open that specific test page now also in my application. So this is how you set up associated domains /AppLinks inside of Nordcraft if you have a mobile application that you host with that. It's pretty simple to do that. If you have any questions about that process, please feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to help, or put your question in the comments down below. And yeah, happy building. Take care. Bye.